Hey Libras, welcome to your relationship check-in reading. If you're dating with someone, dealing with someone, got somebody on your mind, hopefully this reading will give you a little bit of clarity as to what's going on between the two of you. So we're going to start first by pulling a couple of oracle cards just to see what energy is surrounding you. And the first card that we have out for you is staying in. Night in, your space, a moment alone, a partner is busy, free time or mental vacation. And let's pull another and see what else is happening. What else is going on with my Libra collective with their relationships? Oh, wow. Okay. Separation, sadness, missing you, thinking about you, yearning, unsure of the future. All right, Libra. So the one thing that's coming through very, very clearly and very quickly is that right now you are not in a relationship. There may be somebody on your mind, but you two are not together. So it feels as though you have been taking time out to yourself. And what I'm not getting from this is that you had some sort of huge blow up with someone, that it was almost like this connection had a bunch of fits and starts and it just suddenly disappeared. Like it just went off into the ether. Like if, it wasn't, what I'm not getting, and I'm struggling with my words right now because it feels so hard to explain. And I almost feel like this is your energy that's coming through, Libra, where it's like, well, what the hell happened? Like, I thought we were good. Did I miss something is what it feels like. And there hasn't been any sort of meaningful conversation after this kind of faded off or, just sort of came to an abrupt end. And it feels like it just sort of left you in a place like, did I do something? What is there somebody like there's a lot of unanswered questions that are coming through. And I don't think that your life has stopped because of it. I feel like you have kept marching forward, doing what it is that you need to do in life. I think that, you filled your time with friends and work and other things, but there's still that little part of you that thinks about this other person. And it's like, I wish that I had an explanation for whatever it is that happened, because it's like, it doesn't feel like anything on my end, but it just feels like there's something from this story that you are missing. And I don't know. I feel like it would somehow bring you comfort to understand what that is. And I don't think that you're looking for closure necessarily. It feels like you just have questions that you would like answers to. So let's get into some tarot and see what else is going on. So we're going to start with this person's role in your life. Like, why were they even here? We have the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups is really about sort of crying over spilled milk. It's about, we have this person who's, sort of holding their head over these three cups that have spilled in front of them, but they don't see these two cups that are sitting right here next to them. So I almost feel like for this person, in some horrible, like perverse way, is teaching you an important lesson about thinking about the good things that you have in life, the good people that you still have around you, even though they decided to show their absolute asses and, not do the right thing in terms of your relationship or even communicating with you. There's still good things to be had. And we also have the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. So the Eight of Pentacles is about work, right? It's about someone who is mastering their craft, going from a novice to an expert, really paying attention to creating things and building things. And so I feel like for a lot of you Libras that you are people who will like sort of fight to the bitter end. Like, even if things are pointing you to the contrary, you will continue putting in effort until there's nothing to put effort into anymore. And so I feel like this person is also teaching you a lesson on how hard to push and how much to give to someone else. Like, how much effort do you really, really want to put in, from the get-go or as you go along, especially if you're not necessarily seeing that level of work and effort reciprocated. So how this person's energy makes you feel, we have the 10 of Wands in reverse. So the 10 of Wands, when it's upright, is about carrying a burden unnecessarily in a lot of cases. And so for my Libras out there, I think that in a way, this person's departure has sort of, I don't know, it's added stress, right? And again, it's not something that is preventing you from living your life, but there's always that little thing in the back of your head that's like, why? Why? I just want answers. And so while this person didn't crush you, right? It's like they left you with some unanswered questions. And we also have the Magician. So the Magician, I think, for your reading in particular, Libra, has sort of two interpretations, right? The Magician is someone who has all of the tools that they need at their disposal. They have the wand, they have the cups, they have the pentacle, they have the sword. And so they can use, these tools, these gifts, any way they so desire. And so I think that their energy is showing you that you're okay without them. You have everything that you need, right? You have all of the tools that you need to get through life, to thrive, and all of that good stuff. But the Magician can also be a manipulative energy. So I do think that when you think about this person and how they behaved, it feels like there's an element of manipulation that happened. And so I think that also in their absence and the way that they've handled things, you still feel like they're being a little bit manipulative by doing that. So what were your strengths as a team? What did you all have together? We had the 7 of Pentacles, and we also have the 8 of Cups. So this is an interesting combination because the 7 of Pentacles is really about planting seeds, right? Figuring out, where to plant them, how much to, nourish them in hopes that at some point you can sort of reap the harvest, right? But we also have the 8 of Cups, which is about refusing something, walking away, and walking towards something else. So I think that for the two of you, when you came together, there was sort of this mutual, I think almost a goal that you all were both in the same place at that particular time, where you may have been leaving something or someone else behind, and you all at that point were in agreement that you all would plant seeds with each other and figure out, and look over time what blooms. And so you all had that in common. At least initially. I feel like there was a pretty dramatic change that happened, but at one point in time, you all were on the same accord, that you all were prepared to sort of leave your old lives behind and plant these seeds together and see what could grow out of it. But it doesn't appear as though that was sustainable, that lasted a long time. And I will say that for most of my Libras, I don't think that this was like someone you met and then 2 weeks later, this happened. I think that this was someone that you were involved with for a relatively significant period of time, several months, a couple of years maybe. But this initial connection that you all had, this initial common shared goal, just did not last the test of time. So what challenges do you all have as a couple, well, we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. So upright, the Queen of Swords is a very vocal energy. They're very blunt. It's like straight, no chaser, say what's on their mind. So having this in reverse, there's a lack of communication that is happening. There's a lack of honesty in, in translating information to the other person. So I think that, during your relationship, there wasn't a lot of communication from the other side. And Libra, I don't know if you were able to sort of effectively articulate how you were feeling about things either, especially since it feels like the ending was so sudden. It just kind of petered off and you're like, well, wait, what the hell? We also had that clarified by the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So this is something that was just not balanced. Biggest challenge is lack of communication and not being balanced. It didn't feel like there was an equal give and take that was happening. Again, in you learning the lesson of how much effort to put in, I think that you were putting in far more effort than this other person was. And they were not communicating with you what was going on their side. They just, sort of decided to blindside you. So, looking at another underlying issue of your relationship, we had the Nine of Wands. So the Nine of Wands is my Wounded Warrior card. It's really someone who has been through a lot. They've been disappointed. They've been hurt. They've been betrayed. They've been beaten up in life. And they are still standing. But it's always a question of how healthy are they truly. And so I think that for the other person in particular, I almost feel as though they have been through some things in life, and I suspect that a lot of them were self-imposed. And so they were a little bit damaged. And that's not to say that they're a bad person, but when you have damage from past life experiences, relationships, what have you, it's up to you to do the healing, to do the work that's necessary before you can actually get into a healthy relationship with someone else. And so we also have, and this is interesting because I'm fairly certain that Aquarius got this same combination of cards in a different position for their reading. But we have the Four of Wands and we have the Four of Swords in reverse. So, underlying issue, it feels as though two different things, right? That one of you was looking for this foundation. You were looking for the 1111, the gateway, the ever after, that relationship that's solid, that's stable. The other person did not take time to rest and heal with the Four of Swords in reverse. They didn't take that time to do that introspection. They didn't take that time to do that self-work. And so what you have is a damaged person who may have started out with good intentions, but because they had so much garbage left over from life experiences that you didn't have anything to do with, Libra, they came into this a little bit broken and they weren't able to sustain what they thought they wanted over this period of time. Now, in terms of communication, and I'm going to be honest, Libra, I don't see a ton of it coming from this, but we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. The Queen of Pentacles is a very stable, very grounded, very giving energy, right? They're a nurturer. And so having this in reverse, it feels like, honestly, Libra, you shouldn't give this person anything. Don't go chasing after them to have a conversation. Don't, I know that you're not necessarily looking for closure, that you want, that you just to have answers, that you would, in a perfect world, like to have some questions that you would like to have answers to. I do not think that you are going to get them from this person, at least not immediately. So we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, clarified by the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. And so I think that for you, this is going to, communication is not necessary. I don't know that it's going to make you feel any better. I feel like you should focus your communication on yourself and make sure that you affirm yourself. Make sure that you continue to stay grounded, that you continue to stay stable in the absence of this person. I don't know that a talk is going to be beneficial. If anything else, it might make the other person feel better about, how they acted or what they did. But I don't think it's going to do much for you, Libra. So just keep that in mind. Another message that we have from Spirit, we have virtue. You acknowledge your loving spiritual attributes that encourage others to grow. And so I think that for this particular situation, Libra, that you were on the side of right, that you came in honest, you came in open, and the other person was just not where you were, or at least they couldn't be where you were for an extended period of time. But I think that you have grown enough as a person from your own experiences and from this one as well, that, you're not going to sort of change who you are as a result of this. You're still going to be a loving person. You're still going to be a kind person. You're still going to be open to a certain extent. I think that it's going to take a little while for you to build up trust in other people and trust in yourself, because if I'm calling this right, you're probably, again, asking yourself what you did or why you didn't see this coming. And this doesn't really have anything to do with you. It's all on the other person. So, I think that you recognize that you're a good person, that you didn't deserve this. And so closures are going to come from you. Even with these questions not being answered, I think that this was for the best, because you would have kept working yourself to the bone to try and get this right. And this person is just not right. So that's what I got for my Libras out there. Like and subscribe if this was helpful and you enjoyed it. And I will see you on the next one.